Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Every day there are countless books and articles that are published offering the key on how to make your business a success. It's easy to feel overwhelmed trying to keep up and run your business. That's why Deb Creer created the Business Power Hour. Keep up on the latest trends, best practices, and techniques for how to make your business a success. Let the Business Power Hour do the heavy work for you.
Good morning. Good morning. I am Deb Creer, and I am passionate about giving professionals the tools that they need to make themselves and their businesses as successful as possible. And we're going to have such a great discussion today because we're going to be talking about a variety of things, but the biggest is how the heck do I get clients, right? And it sounds really funny. We laugh about it, but it's the biggest struggle that people have. And so we are going to be speaking with an expert in this. So please join me in welcoming Solomon Thimothy to our program today. Welcome, Solomon. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Deb. Thanks for having me. Super excited.
Great. Well, let me tell people a little about you, and then we'll jump into this. So Solomon Thimothy is a highly accomplished entrepreneur with over 17 years of experience in marketing and sales. As the co-founder and CEO of OneIMS and IMS, two leading inbound marketing and sales agencies, as well as Clickx, he has helped businesses increase their revenue using his 10 times framework. Solomon is also an expert in lead generation and customer acquisition, as well as a USA Today and Wall Street Journal best-selling author. In addition to his work, Solomon is also an angel investor and startup advisor. He has helped numerous startups grow and scale, leveraging his expertise in marketing, sales, and business strategy. So again, Solomon, welcome.
Thank you so much, Deb. That was a very long intro. We got to live up to that now.
I know, it's always fun when we do that. I put mine through AI and went, ooh, this sounds impressive, right?
That's awesome.
I always like to know how my guests got to where they are today. So how did you discover that this is your passion in life?
Yeah, no, that's great. So when I was a kid, what I used to do was I would look at trucks and, this is like a service, people's trucks, the roofers and the siding people or whatever it is, painters, and their business cards, they never matched. I was like, why is it that I was exposed to graphic design very young. I'm like, how come these guys don't have the blue? It's like, it's not even blue. It's like yellow. And I realized that most entrepreneurs, they just don't know how to market. They don't know that marketing is one of the key elements of growing a business. I mean, today, everybody calls themselves a marketer, and I get it because it's almost like it's like English, right? You guys learn how to speak it. However, it's not just posting on Instagram 5 times a day, or it's not just, doing some of those very much what we consider normal. Marketing is the thing that's going to drive your customer base. So we looked at it from a different perspective. I started a marketing agency because, again, my passion growing up. As soon as I graduated college, I said, look, I want to go help people with this inconsistent branding and lead generation. And I had never worked in a marketing, environment. I've never done digital. I was a self-taught web developer. So I was coding websites and learning at the same time. I mean, they weren't good, Deb. You probably wouldn't want to work with me in that. But at that time, nobody was building websites, early days of Google. So so again, I just got into it early, and then we built beautiful websites and customers paid us, a couple $1,000s. And then guess what? They just go away. I was like, that's it. We don't, I would call back and say, yeah, Deb, how is that website working for you?
Right.
And Deb would, you'd be like, Solomon's not doing anything for me. I'm not getting any more business because of your beautiful website. So it was the same before and it's the same after. I said, that doesn't seem right, And then I said, look, I think we got to drive traffic. I think, and that's the thing. It's not the website. So then we got more and more into it, and Google Ads. I hired a buddy of mine that was working for Yellow Pages. That was the only company that knew how to run Google Ads. If you remember, early days. Because it wasn't accessible to us. It was like this thing. So I got into it like I said, sort of like whenever it's like ChatGPT right now was, like 20 years ago. And so fortunately, that led to us actually building out an entire business, a team to help customers with lead generation and customer acquisition. That's what I said.
I love it. And you're so right. I mean, we all think, ooh, we've got this great idea. And then we just expect that they will come to us.
Yeah.
And it never works that way. We
No, it
might
doesn't.
we might have friends and family who are our customers, but then we don't get the message out there. And it is so true that everything, I love that you talk about the fact that, the trucks and
Yeah.
the business cards and all those, they had no branding. They did not know what it was.
Yep.
And, it's so easy anymore to make sure all of that matches. But to me, it's about consistency. I mean, I look at it and I think, okay, they have their act together here. They probably have their act together doing what they do.
Yep.
But it was funny. I had a discussion with somebody in a mastermind group that I was in earlier this week. And we talked about the fact that, you mentioned you launch these beautiful websites and then they never do anything with them again. How many times have we gone back to a website and gone, they haven't updated this in years? And I think that's one of the biggest problems that so many people have is they set it and away it goes. They never pay attention to it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you wholeheartedly. It's not that they don't want to, Deb, it's just that they don't have the who,
Right.
the person that is in charge of, owning it. So if you leave everything to the business owner, nothing's going to happen.
Right. Because they've got a lot of stuff they're doing.
Yeah, they're actually doing all the things that they shouldn't be doing. That's another podcast episode in itself, right? So the reason why, whenever I was, doing this early on is just that they just wanted to hand it to you. They didn't want a done with you program. They wanted it done for you program.
Solomon, make it work.
Yeah, they didn't want to hear it. And obviously then it comes with like, okay, we're getting 10 leads. Can you make it 20? And then 20 became 40. And like their desires to grow is there. They just didn't want to deal with the day-to-day, the technicalities of how to do things, which like I said, and I think entrepreneurs really need to know that if it's not your unique ability, this is something that I learned from Dan Sullivan, don't do it, right? Like you need to know that this is your superpower. That's what I would call it. This is what you're really good at. And a lot of entrepreneurs, even in non-marketing industries, are good at marketing, just like a lot of entrepreneurs are good in numbers, right? Like, and a lot of them aren't good in creative things because they got the numbers down. Their website looks like crap because they're just like not looking at the website. They're looking at, hey, we're making 10% more this month or year over year. So you just have to figure out who it is. In my opinion, it should be delegated if it's not your core competence.
Right.
That's what I think.
Right. Yeah, it's funny because my company designs websites. I have someone who does it, right? But I like tinkering and they hate it when I tinker, right? But I go by the 15-minute rule. If I can do whatever it is in 15 minutes and not break it, then it's okay if I do it. But if it's going to take me longer than that, then I need the person who is the expert at it to do it.
Absolutely. I agree with you. And I think I don't even have the 15-minute tolerance. It's not 3 minutes. I'm not doing it. And the reason I say that is 15 minutes to me, it'll be like 45 minutes when I actually figure out how to do it. And then all of a sudden I wasted an hour.
Right.
And it happens way too often, right? Like, because we're fixing, other people's problems or whatever it is. So I agree with you. All of us entrepreneurs need to get a really good handle on where our time is going.
Right.
And the reason I say that is about all that you have and that you could control. Can't control the economy, right? Can't control who is going to be winning, election this year.
Yikes.
You could control where your time goes. In my opinion, like I've been teaching all of our entrepreneurs, spend that 20%, spend all your time doing the 20% that drives your 80% result. Right. Which most of the time, it's not marketing. I can guarantee you that. Right. Because your ability to do posting or running Google ads is very minimal. It's not that. I mean, I talked to an entrepreneur yesterday. He's doing 5 million. He wants to be like 10 and 15 million. I said, well, here's the deal. You're probably not going to get there by working an extra hour. Did you know that? And he's like, yeah, I know that. I said, do you think what we need to do? You need to be hitting up other businesses right now that you can collaborate and partner with that are complementary to you. Right. When they say, look, we sell this thing. Oh, by the way, my friend, like if they ever talk about your thing, they say my friend, and you got to build some relationship,
Right.
monetary or non-monetary.
Mhm.
I said, that's going to bring you a couple $1 million. And then we're going to do this other thing. That's going to get you a couple $1 million. Then we're going to do this other thing. I said, if you stack that up, we can get you there. And then ripple effect, they start referring you customers and
Right.
the word of mouth and everything else. And so, and like I said, I think it's networking to get to that 10x, which you and I just mentioned in my intro. It's not going to be one more hour of work.
Right.
And I mean, I put a lot of hours in the office, but I don't see my business 10xing. But this 15-minute with you and me, that podcast can go to somebody that actually is in dire need of something that I might be able to help them with. I don't know, maybe not.
Right.
But if that does, it'll pan out to be more of my ROI than, right? Like working, I don't know, sending 16 more emails that night.
Right. Yeah. And I love this conversation because when I talk to especially newer business owners or maybe ones who are struggling, it is because they're trying to do it all themselves. And I think it's because we think, well, it's our business, so we should do it all. Or they're like me and they're kind of a control freak and they don't want to let it go. And it's funny, I do a lot of volunteer work, and I was, kind of complaining that I was, had too many things on my plate. And this one person, bless her little heart, she said, I have one word for you: delegate. But then somebody else put it in an even better term. They said, you hire or work with people who are experts, honor them by having them do it. And to me, that really was so much better because, that's why I want to honor them by saying, Solomon, this is your expertise. You run with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's unfortunate that we're wired that way. And I think the bigger issue is that we just don't want to ask for support.
Oh, yeah. Oh, admit that we don't know what we're talking about, or we don't know.
Right. We don't want to ask for support. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs fall in that trap. It's not that we know that we're not good at it, but we're just unwilling to ask for support or admit, right? So unfortunately, as I've gone, older, I've gotten a lot of great coaching over the years. It's one of the things I cannot replace that in my life. I am who I am because of the mentors that poured into my life. And one of which was to share everything I know, right? Like this is why I'm here to serve the people that are going to be listening to this and watching this. And so because of that, I start to understand some of the patterns that are holding entrepreneurs back. It's really their upbringing, their parents, and all this other stuff is why they often find themselves where they are. It's not that they don't know that they need to market.
Right.
It's things like, okay, well, we get around to it. My daddy said he did it. Either you did it or you didn't get it at all, or whatever it is.
Right.
And then it's all carried through childhood. You grow up and you're like, yeah, doing exactly what daddy did, right? Like, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And so I realized that I got to get rid of that. So I got to do whatever I need to do to reach my goals. It doesn't have to be what, my family tradition. And that starts to, help you in your career and your professional life.
Right.
Yeah, it's really, really true. And I think in our case, like a lot of our clients are businesses that their family had owned. So like, it's not like the kid took over or the son or the daughter or whatever it is. It's often a lot of, cultural things came from like the previous way of how they marketed it. And so sometimes the kids are taking over and they're like, this isn't going to fly. We're never going to be $100 million company with this kind of marketing strategy, which, by the way, was built for the phone book ages.
Right.
So
and this is the way we've always done it.
Yeah, this is the way we've always done it. And however, like they're starting to realize that their competitors are being bought out. They're not getting bought out because there's no innovation happening in their businesses. Yeah. So, and like I said, I'm fortunate enough to see that like a lot of our customers get bought out. I guess we do such a great job that they start to make a lot of money, and then,
this is good. And they go off then and buy an island or something, right?
Exactly. Private equity comes and picks them up. But again, for us, it's more of that cornerstone of like, what are we doing in marketing? And we built like a formula that almost guarantees that you're going to grow your business, Deb. That's kind of what is my secret sauce, if that makes sense.
Well, tell us more about that. What the heck, now we do want people to come to you for the expertise. So give us kind of,
Absolutely. But
give
you
us
know
the
what?
short version.
I appreciate it. Happy to. And by the way, Deb, I'm here serving and sharing everything. People go do it on their own because, like I said, not everybody's a good fit. So I never
Right.
go and say, try to close every business out there. I can't. I don't even have time. In fact, I think when you're really good at your art, Deb, this is what you'll find out. And everybody that's listening, you wouldn't have a business growing problem. That's what you need to understand, is that if you're really good, people will seek you out. And fortunately, like I said, when we unwrap this thing, you're going to see that like it's like built on foundational things that everybody can do and scale. So we call this the growth formula. It has 4 sections. All right. So and the premise of it is it's called acquisition plus retention equals growth. In other words, you're building an engine that is constantly looking to get customers. It's the acquisition engine. Always looking to get new customers. I'll break it down for you so in a second you'll know how to do that. And then the second engine is like, how do we retain those people so you don't lose them, which in our world with, everybody having very little attention span, like a goldfish, and they don't remember what they saw yesterday, we can't really scale that. So what do we need to do? We need to change it. So this is how foundationally, like what we do is different. Most of the time, what entrepreneurs are doing is they're throwing anything at the wall, see what sticks.
Right, see what sticks.
Strategy. Oh, we'll do some Google ads. We'll do some SEO. We'll do some whatever it is that we saw at the networking event. Seems like a great idea. People come to me with like geofencing and all these big words. I'm like, geofencing, like, are you a baseball stadium? You're gonna geofence the baseball stadium and sell hot dogs to everybody on the seats? Like, if they don't open up this geofencing app while they're sitting inside the stadium during the ball game, they don't see your ad. So is that really your marketing strategy? Not saying anything for anybody who's doing geofencing.
Because sometimes it does work or they wouldn't have it, right?
Agreed. Those are like the things that they say as a case study to sell it to 1 million people that it doesn't work for. You know what I'm saying? So what we're talking about is a little different, because it's not based on hunches or sort of fads. It's based on basically how Apple built Apple, how Microsoft built Microsoft, and all these other companies. So on the acquisition side, something we really have to understand is that not everybody is in the market to buy your products and services right now.
Right.
That's the first concept. Who is even ready to buy this thing is what we call people in market. So at the very top left, you'll see capture demand. And that means is that if somebody is looking for an HVAC system today, that's the person who's likely to buy your thing right now. So you want to capture that demand that already exists in the marketplace. Right. So how many people or what percentage of your total addressable market is in the demand right now? It's approximately between 3 and 5%. Like it's the same thing. If you're selling garage doors, not everybody's garage door breaks on the same day. 3% of the people have some problem. It's making some noise. It's got to get some grease. And then over time, it wears down. So garage guys going left and right all over town trying to get these 3% of the people. And you're only going to get the 3% of the people if your company shows up when they Googled that thing. Right? So if you don't show up, it's not that we don't want you to not make money. It's that you're never going to get found for that people that are looking for. You are going to grow word of mouth, the networking events, but you're not capturing the market as it happens, meaning you just have it on autopilot. $10,000 invested in Google Ads or whatever it is. Every time this keyword search in my town, 1 mile radius, I want to be there. 9 to 5 when my, Kim is at my desk, answering the phone, whatever it is. Make sense?
Right.
That is an autopilot system anybody can do. They don't need my help. They can do that. The second is the 95 to 97% of the people that are not, they don't have a broken garage right now.
Right.
They don't have a faucet.
They might not have a garage.
They don't even, yeah, exactly. At some point they might, right? They don't know they have a problem. So these are people that don't even have a problem yet, but you still need to sell to them because they still have a home or they have a garage, but like they don't know yet. So this is kind of like the Val Pack idea. Like you send it to 1 million people, hopefully somebody buys it. But the strategy doesn't work because you and I know that everything goes in the garbage. So that doesn't work. What we do on digital is that we would create content that would then show up when they search their symptoms on Google.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, hey, why does my garage make this noise? Why does this happen? Why does that happen? Right? When manufacturing companies, and a lot of our clients are manufacturing, what kind of material do I need to put in this thing and that thing? Very specific long tail questions people ask Google. We want to create that content because these 95% of the people are going to wake up one day and Google this. Short form videos, long form videos, blog posts, everything. We plaster the internet. And I don't mean it in a spammy way. I mean in the highest
right,
quality
because they
possible.
were looking for it. And
Exactly.
so you want to provide, and yeah, you want to provide high quality content or they go on to the next thing.
Exactly. And so we do that. That's a slower engine because you're not trying to get all of that. This is a slow race wins the, whatever.
The slow
and steady wins the race.
Yes, that's it.
And so our entrepreneurs are prioritizing the capturing, and the secondary is the social media content. It's what the intern's supposed to do. So when you give this framework to somebody, they can totally capture this, understand. They go, you know what? It makes perfect sense. So then me as an entrepreneur, they sell me on this, like, oh, Salman, we want to do this trade show. I said, fantastic. Is it creating demand or is it capturing demand? They're like, it's going to be neither because it's going to be with nonprofits. I don't think
it's a good trade show I was told to go to, right?
Exactly. There goes $10,000. And then the next thing you goes, it's a nonprofit. Then it's the golf outing. And then that thing, all of a sudden, 80% of your marketing is invested in all the wrong things that doesn't do E, A, or B. Now, let me ask you this. If you're Apple, would you do that?
No.
Exactly. If you're even a mid-sized company, $50 to $100 million, they will spend money where they see it's going to drive ROI.
Right.
Sometimes small businesses, unfortunately, get the best of them and they just want to throw it everywhere because they're like scattered. Like, let's sow all seeds everywhere, man. We got $300
something will grow. We know it will.
Something will work. Exactly. It's the shiny object syndrome as well. We're not gonna get there today. So on the right-hand side, oftentimes what happens is that we capture a bunch of leads. We don't have a system to nurture them. So what happens when they actually have a problem? They don't remember us at all. We're not top of mind because we're thinking about today for today. We're going to make some money today. We're going to get there. So unfortunately, we're not working on building the system to drive leads a year from now, 2 years from now, right? So I work with financial advisors. They want to know who the kids are because guess what? Eventually, they want the kids to be the client. That's just how it is. And they want to know everybody else in the family. So it's like a different kind of way of looking at it. Because guess what? If you don't have a great relationship with the future decision makers, they're going to go somewhere else.
Right.
That's the right-hand side. That's exactly what it is. If wife makes the decision, you better send things to the house. Right? Like you want to know everybody's information. Now, I don't know if you know this, Nordstrom, when you go shopping there, they'll ask you for your phone number. They'll ask you for your sizes because they want to have somebody call you and tell you there's a new jacket.
Oh, we've got this great.
Exactly. They call it personal shopping, but what it really is nurturing. They're really trying to make sure, but Macy's doesn't do that.
Right.
See the difference? Like Macy's, I'm going in, I'm in and out. Somewhere else, they're going to give me the time when they look me up and say, oh, you have this and that. You bought this from us. Like that's what customers really want.
Right.
They want that
because it makes it simpler in the long run.
Agreed. And also you now know more about your customers, which I always say, we said, do you know enough about your customers? We don't track anything. We don't have any information. Unfortunately, that doesn't work. So that's that part. And then the last piece is you're managing and nurturing your customers, which most of the time we don't do a good enough job.
Right.
Right? Everybody's a victim of that because we feel like they're already a customer. Like they already know what we do. Let's go find people that are not customers. Well, let me tell you, the referrals, the relationship, growing that account, everything happens on the bottom right. Now, our best of the best customers, they have the best of the best customers that all got sold. They had a system that built, there's these 4 little engines, capturing demand, creating demand, managing, nurturing their leads, what data goes to who, persona-based content, right? Who's their ideal customer profile? They're constantly trying to make the life of that person who has that challenge right now. And if they don't, they're plastering the internet for that day when they do have it.
Right.
That is podcast like we're doing. That was all these things. What do you think I'm doing? I'm out there preaching this so that when the right fit comes, they already know what I do. They know how I'm going to fix their problem. Now, 9 out of 10 times when a customer comes to us, and not everybody's a good fit, but like the ones that are saying, this is a good opportunity, 3 out of this is not there. 3 out of the 4 is not there. They might have the capture demand part, or they're creating demand. There's no nurture happening. There's no customer marketing. There's nothing like that. No system in place. There's no metrics, no managing of KPIs. And so if you start to run the marketing like you run a business, all of a sudden it's no longer, hey, let's go run $300 in Google because last time we did it, we got a customer. Like, it's a gamble. I mean, honestly, it's just a gamble. I would say don't do it because I have no guarantee it's going to work. And I don't want you getting mad at me because the way you think about it is very short term.
Right. And it's got to be strategic, and I love what you said where it was, we go with the bright, shiny object and we throw everything and see what sticks. I've had clients that have said, we want to be on Instagram. I'm like, okay, that's great. But the people you're trying to reach are not on Instagram. The people that want to, there's an ad campaign right now on the radio station that I listen to. And I laugh because it says, don't you want to reach the hundreds of thousands of people who could buy your product by an ad here? Well, first of all, there might not be hundreds of thousands of people who could buy your product. If there is, could you fulfill that demand? I mean, that's one of the big things. But I love advertisers. I mean, that's where we work with them. But is that the best place? And the best, because you mentioned that time is our biggest thing, but then of course our money is the other. We only have X number of dollars to spend, and we absolutely have to put them in the best place. And most of the time we're not. Like you said, we're buying golf outings and going to the things that are fun but don't really do anything to improve our business.
Absolutely. So for that entrepreneur that has a limited amount of money, they know it's finite.
And that's all of us, right? Even Apple, even Microsoft.
I know. And then put that in the capture demand. Put it in the capture demand bucket. What happens, Deb, every single day is that marketing folks, my own people, don't get this concept. They often go and start creating social media content,
right?
Which I have no problem. But they don't understand that is not going to give you an immediate lift. And then entrepreneurs live with this fact that I'm not getting any sales right now, but it's going to work.
Right.
I'm going to cold call today, but it's going to work. No, there's people Googling your thing right now. You don't have to wait, but you just have to change your strategy. It's not that you didn't hire the marketing company, or it's not that you didn't do all the things. It's just that they're not doing the 80-20 part, which is where I get, you know what I mean? Like, that's my thing. It's like, how do we get you sales today? Who is in market looking for what it is that you do? And when you do all these advertising, if you're not getting it, then we got to get our clarity on our ideal customer profile. We got to get more clarity on that person. We got to get better, tighten down our niche, tighten down our keywords. Maybe we're going too broad. You see what I'm saying? And so we need to get better and better. So this allows us to do that. And all of our customers, you can't be a client of mine if it's not going to be this. This is it.
Right. Yeah. You probably hear this. I hear this, when I'm talking with a potential client or, anybody, and I say, who is your target market? And they look at you and they smile sweetly and they say, everyone. No, I don't think there is any company in the world for any product or service that any person could buy it, because there's all the different factors that weigh into it. And so that's where niching down. And of course that's scary because you're thinking, well, I just went from billions of people to 10, but you know what? The 10 are the people who are going to buy from you. So why waste your money on everybody else?
Absolutely. And I'm actually saying to only spend enough to capture those people. Like I said, 1 mile radius, 9 to 5, this keyword or whatever it is. And it doesn't have to be Google Ads. I'm just giving you an example. Wherever they go and find this thing, you want to be there. And today it's Google until it becomes Chat GPT or whatever it is.
Right.
But right now I got to go where the people are. And we try to do that. Organic search, paid search, YouTube ads. To me, it's like any search engine where your customers are looking for answers, you want to be there. Paid, organic. And by the way, it's long-term thinking that gets you these results, not I spent $1,000, in 1995 and I didn't get anything. And unfortunately, like they're just not going to ever get this concept. It's just not going to work. It's not for everybody. How's that?
Right.
Not everybody's a good fit, like you said.
Right. And that's okay. We wish them well, right?
Agreed.
But it is one of those things where we have to also be patient. Like you were saying, it's like, okay, if I spend $1,000 today, I'm not going to get 10 new clients tomorrow, or whatever it is that your goal is. You might get one. I mean, and every once in a while we have the flukes where, something just hit at the right time with somebody, right? And they're like, oh my God, that worked. That's, definitely not the standard, but it's about having the long-term messaging, all of those, we see it all the time with people who want to do one ad buy, wherever it is, whether it's Google, whether it's print, media, they just, they've got $10,000 and they're going to spend it all right now. No, spend 1,000, 10 times, right? I did that math right. Okay. And, and just kind of see what's out there. And that's where A/B testing and all these various things come in, which is of course why the marketing people or the business owner just went, oh, that hurts my head.
Yeah, and I agree with you that I'd rather you do $1,000 over 10 months. But I know that if you invested into the growth formula like we made it, it has to work.
Right.
That's how all these companies have grown. There is just no way that it's not going to work. In fact, the reason why people are frustrated because they haven't been putting it in the places that work, and they've been like not investing. And we don't say here's the magic bullet. We say, where do you go to capture this demand?
Right.
You may have to go to the Saturday whatever farm, farm to table, whatever that is, on Saturday morning market. You know what I mean? I don't know where people are coming to buy organic tomatoes, but that's where you got to go.
Right.
It's probably not Google. So once you start solving for that capture and demand, then your business will be free of not having this cash confidence. And then you could invest into long-term content creation or blogs or whatever it is to create the demand for your products and services. So when they do want organic tomatoes or whatever it is that you do, boom, they're like, oh my gosh, we had no idea Deb had a whole farm in our backyard. Whatever.
Right. Well, and location. I mean, it's like the realtors say, location, location, location. One of my favorite examples is a billboard. Now, I am not a fan of billboards, right? Because you whiz past them so fast. But there is one that, I drive by every once in a while, and it is for a bail bondsman, right? You've been arrested, you need that. If you look, the billboard is here, across the street is the jail. And so as they are making that one phone call that they get, they see that billboard, and that's perfect product placement, but if I'm sure that, people told them, hey, you need to run ads, you need to do this, you need to do that. No, the person who needs that service needs it right then, and they need to look and they need to see that information. It's back to like the garage doors. I love it when, they put they work on your garage door. It works perfectly. It's great. And then by the garage door opener, there's the sticker that reminds you who they are and how to reach them. Because the next time it quits, you're not going to be you're going to go poke your garage door opener several times and then go, oh, look, there's the sticker.
Absolutely. And I think it's a smart move on that company because they get that nurturing of the customers.
Right.
It's like autopilot. My HVAC system has a giant sign of the company to call for service. Not like it's almost like nobody else can service this, only they can. I'm like, come on now. I mean, there's a little bit extra there. But it's like this giant thing nobody can like ignore. Do you know how much money that brings them? Just
a lot.
Sticker. Exactly. Because it says for service. Like it looks like the manufacturer put it on there. So again, that's their way of nurturing the customers, which I would rather be that company that does it than not putting it.
Right.
Think about it. Right. And because again, it goes back to the growth formula. And why this is so important for us is that once we fix all of these little hiccups, you will have a much more well-oiled machine where you can invest thousands of dollars in your marketing and get to where you're trying to go.
Right.
Because frankly, hundreds won't make it. Thousands, tens of thousands, probably what you need. Because if you look at Google, like the big guys are spending tens of thousands of dollars. And you can say, I'm in a small market. I can only need, fine, whatever it is. But to really get to the tens of millions of dollars, if that's your goal, you're going to have to invest like it. Right? There's just no other way. That means invest in people, invest in programs, invest in technology, invest in automation. So you just really want to get there. So we usually say, look, let's work backwards. If my goal is short-term cash, capture demand, close the doors. Like we're not going to create a social media post. You're going to upset the intern, but the fact of the matter,
yeah, because that's what they're there for.
Right, but it doesn't do anything, is what I'm saying, because we've actually lost money by not capturing the demand. There's just no point in it. Now, is it any of it helps? Of course, but like I said, I don't want them focusing their attention in 400 different things. Let's go get $1,000 into Google or whatever it is, and let's get a couple of sales. Let's make that 2,000, get a couple more sales. Like just build onto it. And it's the shape of an infinity. We'll show that back to you because it's technically never done.
Because it is just
exactly.
It's like shampoo used to say: lather, rinse, repeat. Right? You just you keep going.
And all the time, every quarter, I bet you something's going to break. Some system is not working well, so you got to go back and re-optimize that part. Right. So again, you realize that these are long-term investments, and our customers like get that, and they want to get the company on the right track, and they don't want to deal with marketing on their heads. They shouldn't even think about it. That's what I'm saying. It's little 4 mini systems that comprise to build 2 big systems, and these systems are running 24 hours a day, even when you're sleeping. So like marketing automation is on the right-hand side.
Right.
Yeah, a lead comes in, they get a text message, get an email, all of that stuff. Customers get asked to leave a review if that's what you're, a small business. Or bigger business, they get requested to say, hey, do you know anybody else in your network that could benefit from our services? Or they get a notification internally to have an account manager reach out every 90 days. Like automation is what's going to grow it. It's not even that Bob has to remember to call the customer.
Right, because Bob forgot.
Bob. Exactly. We create a task in the CRM system every 90 days that Bob has to check as it's done. So as you can see, like once you systemize this, it's not a question of what should happen. It's, do you have the right people that are doing this thing? Right.
You know, and I love that you talk about automation, and I'm, the kid that doesn't do that. And I always keep thinking, I need to do that. I need to do that because I am still trying to remember stuff, and technology makes it easy. And that's the thing is, we have to do that. And now when you add in AI, I mean, I am not one of those people that runs screaming from it. I think it's the greatest thing in the world. Yes, there are things that we need to pay attention to and safeguard from. I don't want kids, just producing their term papers using AI. But, if I can automate things, or more importantly, I use AI when I'm writing. I will write a paragraph, a blog, or whatever, and then I will, have ChatGPT rewrite it, or I'll have it do the first draft. And, and to me, I just love doing that because it just kind of goes from there. Because in many cases, if I had to do it all myself, as you said, it wouldn't get done. I'm just not going to do it. And I think that's where AI is really kicking in. So tell us a little bit more about how you see the future of things with AI.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think going back to this growth formula, you can actually apply AI in all 4 categories, and we do. So in the first column, when you're running ads, Google has the things like let AI optimize the audience. No problem. I don't have any issues. So I can have one I'm optimizing the audience, one they're optimizing the audience. So I can split test, like you said, is one better than the other.
Right. And then you end up probably doing a combination, right? This worked here, this worked here. This is going to really work.
Agreed. So you do want to, test your theories. On the bottom left-hand side where it's creating awareness, creating all of that, I think marketing was the first thing that got disrupted with AI. So you can ask ChatGPT, tell me what kind of questions my audience are asking.
Right.
What questions come to mind when they're buying this kind of manufacturing product? you know, who are my ideal customer persona? Who are who are my ideal customer profile? And then you can also put in your competitors and say, tell me, you know, how their messaging is different from my messaging.
Right.
What are they doing differently? Like, you know, there's endless things that you can do, in my opinion, between the bottom half, which is creating the content. They can create your slides, they can create your blog posts. Not that you're going to publish them like, you know, Deb,
Right. But it's a good starting place, draft, whatever.
Exactly. And then on the nurturing side, this is where you may have to create email body, email content. So you can take the same email and say, hey, write this as if I'm talking to the CTO.
Right.
Write this as I'm talking to CFO.
Yep.
So what he does is take that same paragraph that Deb wrote saying, hey, this is what we do and here's why we're better at it. Or we noticed that you have these problems. I'm curious, you have these challenges. But CTO looks at it very differently from a security perspective or whatever it is.
Right.
The CFO is thinking cost conscious. Do we have budget? Or CEO is a visionary, wants to go 10x everything. So we can change that body of the email 3 ways. And the reason why I bring that up is because when we do lead nurturing, we don't just take one email and send it to everybody.
Right. Because we get those emails and we're like, well, this is not for me.
Yeah, exactly. So what we want to do is we want to tie it to the type of person they are. If they are not a CEO, we don't want them to receive it. If they're support staff, if they're C-suite, we want them to ask. So we change up the email.
Right.
So titles for our B2B clients is a very important indicator of what kind of content they're going to get.
Right.
And the size of company is another thing that we use to nurture. So smaller companies get different offers than higher end companies. So because in the higher end companies, there's a group buying, and oftentimes that's a longer sales cycle than smaller companies. So you're not sending the same thing to everybody like you think. You're sending different thing to different people. So if you think about it, it's a very complicated thing to lead nurture.
Right.
It's not easy.
Right.
I don't have to make it complicated. If you really want to do a good job, you need to care about who you're sending stuff to. That's what I'm saying.
Right. You know, and it's when I use it on social also. You know, I will say, okay, I'm writing a post about X. You know, I want it for Facebook, I want it for Twitter, and I want it for LinkedIn. And with just subtle tweaks, it changes it so that you know, okay, well, this and it's funny because sometimes it really is a subtle tweak, but it makes a difference. You know, if I see a post on LinkedIn that was clearly written more for, say, Twitter, you know, you're like, well, this doesn't make sense. You know, and part of it too is the length. You know, you can write more, you can write less, all of those things. And again, why kill my own brain cells when AI can do it for me?
Absolutely. No, I agree with you. And I don't think AI is going to like, you know, go away. Number one, number two, I think we're going to automate more and more. If you ask us from our perspective, we're actively looking for tools that not just use ChatGPT. We want to use the Perplexities of the world, and we want to use the Claude. We want to use everything. And the reason
because they all are slightly different.
They're slightly different. They all have their pros and cons. And we're actually would rather, you know, what we're doing is making our marketing dollars more efficient. That's what we look at. And if we're going to do more with your dollars, like we're going to win more. You know what I mean? Like our clients are going to get more customers. And that's precisely our point, right? So we want AI infused. We want to infuse AI in everything, but also from the outset, from what we're seeing, it's actually way better once you have a human pilot driving the AI, like you said.
Right. You have to ask the right questions, do the right prompts, all of those things.
The results are so good. So like, let me give you one of the examples.
Oh, great.
That nobody can get it done this fast. So we use AI. So one of the things that we do is we prospect. We want our customers to go out and find those referrals, find those partnerships. Those people aren't Googling. They're not capturing demand. This is the creation of demand part. Let's go network with these people. As I said, if you network, you make way more money because you get these people. But you need to send an extremely personalized email. One idea, Deb, is Debbie sits down and starts writing these really amazing personalized email. Or we use AI. We go to their website. We look at what they do because we already picked up our Dream 100 partners. Now we let AI go to market and study everything, come back with one sentence that talks about the latest award they got,
Right.
the latest client project, something that is of very personalized, that shows that, show me that you know me. Now, AI does that. We insert that as the first sentence. Then we write sort of like that boilerplate, like, hey, I'm curious, because typically when we work at this kind of company, I'm wondering, do you have time for grabbing a coffee to learn how we can help each other?
Right.
The result is way better and more efficient and faster than Debbie sitting down to do 100 of those, which, like you said, nobody got any time. So they put partnerships on hold. There goes $1 million.
Right. And we all love those personalized emails or texts or whatever it is, right? Because, and oh, the worst, dear insert name here. I'm like, oh, couldn't you, right? But when, and I used to tell people this, and I still do, say you go to a networking thing and you come back with, people still have business cards. It's funny. I have not in-person networked very much since COVID. You'll say you come back. You've got 10 business cards. So you can research those folks, whether you're using AI or whatever. But then if I say, hey, Solomon, it was great meeting you at XYZ networking event. Happened to see that you just won this very prestigious award. Congratulations. And then I give my little spiel as to what it is. But that little piece of, I took the time, whether it was me or AI, to research. They're going to pay attention to that.
Absolutely. And I think what I hate is that they put me on the mailing list as soon as I met them.
Oh, I know.
And I think it's not a bad thing. I think they should do that. They're cutting, the growth formula, they're just cutting a couple of pieces. It's just cut short on some of those pieces.
Right. And I think that's where people are not using AI correctly, right?
I agree. There's no reason, because you didn't personalize your. I'm not an ideal customer of yours. That's not
right.
So all you did is put me on your constant contact with 700 other people that you got from this Chamber of Commerce or whatever it is. None of them need your stuff.
No.
They should be referral partners, which should not be getting the same thing an ideal customer should be getting, which is managing and nurturing the leads based on the title, based on the type of company, based on the relationships. So again, it does get complicated, but I've seen that happen a lot. Of course, I unsubscribe. The last thing I want is 10 more emails from people that I'm not, I don't have any business doing this thing. But like I said, if they actually understand what we're talking about today, they will be truly fundamental. That's, it's going to be one of the best things that can ever do for their business. I promise. I guarantee you.
Right. The ones that drive me crazy are LinkedIn. I will connect with someone and immediately you get the sales pitch. First of all, nobody's going to respond immediately no real person.
Yeah.
Because they're busy. They're not looking at it. Even if I look and say, oh my gosh, Solomon just connected with me on LinkedIn, I am not going to immediately respond because I've got other things I'm doing. And so when their automated system sends the, hey, how are you? I would like to talk to you about, and I have fun with them sometimes, especially when they pitch things that I already do. Those are my favorites. The people who say, would you like to we can do such and such for you, and I'm like, well, and I'll respond. Now most of the time I don't, because I'm like, whatever, but I'll respond and say, well, if you had taken a minute to read my profile, you would see that is what my company does. And and then of course their little AI bot gets very confused and doesn't know how to respond, but it still needs that personal touch. So maybe don't set it to go right away. Maybe you need to have filters set. I mean, everything is getting more and more sophisticated. So no longer are we doing I just met you at the such and such Chamber of Commerce. I would like to tell you about my business, right?
Right.
There's no excuse to be doing that anymore.
Absolutely. And by the way, you could tell that's robotic.
Right.
When you do that instant. And I'm not against LinkedIn, automation.
Right.
It's a gray area. It's not really a black hat. It's gray area is what I would say. But I think, like I said, it's another spray and pray. and
Right.
I'm not for it.
Mhm.
I think we want to, like you said, something really, really important,
Mhm.
which is you want to be strategic.
Yep.
That's your words.
Mhm.
And it was like early in the conversation, and
Mhm.
I love that
Mhm.
because everything I do is
Mhm.
strategic. Is this
Right.
going to get us to where we're trying to
Mhm.
go?
Mhm.
And if it isn't, I don't want to
Mhm.
propose that for you. It's just
Right.
not.
Mhm.
It's like, yeah,
Mhm.
is this gonna help? It's like
Mhm.
a food you eat. Is it gonna help you?
Mhm.
Is it gonna be healthy for
Mhm.
you? If not,
Sometimes it's just really good and we can
I
indulge in the
know
chocolate,
it's
but you can't make a habit of
exactly
it. Mhm.
agreed. Once
Mhm.
in a while, it's okay,
Mhm.
splurge a little. But
Mhm.
like, this is not like you're paying me to tell you what to do.
Mhm.
I'm gonna tell you
Mhm.
this is not a good investment.
Mhm. Right. And really sit down and think about it. I mentioned, that I haven't done much networking since COVID started. So what, 4.5 years ago? Oh my gosh, that sounds
I
horrible.
know, I can't believe it
Um,
either.
I have been to two in-person networking events, and I used to go at least to one a week, if not more. And just stopped going and then got out of the habit of going. And I still belong to those organizations because I think it's important for a variety of reasons. But yeah, it's only been within the last month that I have gone again. And it was one of those where one was a friend of mine who was the speaker, so I wanted to go in and support him, and then the other just sounded really, really interesting. But for the rest of these programs, I thought, is it worth 2.5 3 hours of my time
Right.
to go and do it? By the time I have to get dressed, drive there, eat the now I'm in Atlanta, so the catering is always fantastic. So you eat the really good food, but so I sat down and I really looked at it and thought, not going for those 4 years, how much business did I lose? Zero. Did I miss the people? Yes. Did I miss some important programs? Well, probably, but I probably could get
Probably.
that content somewhere else. But the 3-ish hours, I could get so much more done, or just take a nap. But it was what you're saying, is that ROI. Was it worth my
Absolutely.
time to go? No.
I agree. And by the way, Atlanta is terrible traffic. So
I know. So
three is like three
yeah,
and
I'm
a
like,
half.
I'm not driving there. No.
Yeah. And I think you're doing a
Mhm.
fabulous job networking on this
Mhm.
podcast.
Mhm.
So people don't understand that this is
Mhm.
equally good, if probably
Yes.
not
Mhm.
better,
Mhm.
because you're creating demand,
Mhm.
which is going to
Mhm.
outlive this 1 hour that you're
Right.
investing,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? So like you have to figure out, is that the best use of your
Mhm.
time? If you're the money producer, maybe
Mhm.
not.
Mhm.
I would hire a person,
Mhm.
put them in charge of my
Right.
local events and local
Mhm.
networking,
Mhm.
and I would send that
Mhm.
person because I could create
Mhm.
content, which is going to drive me 10x
Mhm.
results if I look at the growth
Mhm.
formula. And then I do want to create
Mhm.
demand, but it's lower priority
Mhm.
because it's only going to be, whatever many people, like you
Mhm.
said, 10 businesses.
Mhm.
Send somebody else,
Mhm.
right? Like it's just
Right.
that delegation button
Mhm.
is going to be there.
Mhm.
And I don't ever go to anything. Like I used to go to the thing like once a month for like a
Mhm.
little lunch
Mhm.
because I loved, like you said, the people and the
Mhm.
organization
Mhm.
that I belong to or whatever. But I didn't go there for networking. I just felt I wanted to get out
Mhm.
because I work too much
Mhm.
and I needed an
Mhm.
excuse to like,
Yeah. Go be
do
social.
this thing.
Mhm.
Had I meet some
Mhm.
amazing
Mhm.
people? I
Mhm.
sure did.
Mhm.
But I almost feel like because I'm in this office 24
Mhm.
hours, like all the time, working,
Mhm.
working, working, not 24 hours, but you know what
Mhm.
I mean? Like you feel like
Mhm.
you work a lot.
Seems like it's
You
24/7.
never see
Mhm.
daylight. Yeah, let's
Mhm.
be honest. I
Mhm.
mean, I have back-to-back calls every day.
Mhm.
I never see daylight. And
Mhm.
so I'm like, okay, this allows me to just not think
Mhm.
about it. And it was about leadership. I'm like, I
Mhm.
could totally use some more
Mhm.
leadership skills.
Mhm.
This is
Right.
fantastic.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so I went, right? Like
Mhm.
during those months that they have it only like half the year.
Mhm.
But like it is so good. And I mean,
Mhm.
like it was one of the
Mhm.
best things I've ever done.
Right.
But I wanted to go there. It wasn't for
Mhm.
business reasons. I told
Mhm.
everybody there at my
Mhm.
desk, like, I do not care
Mhm.
what you guys like. I'm not
Mhm.
here to sell you anything.
Right. Yeah. I
I
don't
don't
want
even
your
have a
business
business
card.
card.
I didn't even
Yeah, I
go.
don't even have a
Yeah.
business card. And
When
you
I
want to hear
went, I was
something?
like, I have no business. I had no name tag.
Ev- I know
Mhm.
every single person's like asking you for help
Mhm.
because I came off as somebody who wasn't going to sell them anything.
Mhm. Right.
That's the
Right.
ultimate,
Mhm.
like, that's the best salesperson
Mhm.
that you could be.
Mhm.
It's the
Right.
one that's there to help.
Mhm.
It's a whole nother episode.
Mhm.
It's not pushy. It's not salesy,
Mhm.
not, kind of pulling your
Mhm.
agenda saying, hey, when are we going to, like,
Mhm.
no. I actually, like I said, I work with growth-oriented, ambitious entrepreneurs. They want to 10x. They don't like their current marketing system. They want to make difference. They also want to be the biggest brand in their category. Right? Like they don't want obscurity. They want market dominance, which, by the way, is very hard to get. Exponential growth, which is why I always say 10x, is because like those are the customers that, in my opinion, like that I enjoy working with. Like this is my honest truth in our team. And so we can do a lot of different things for them, show them truly where they should be investing the time. But everybody else, I'm making everything I do for free. Grab all my episodes, grab all my videos, grab all my cheat sheets, all
great
my
blogs. Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Take it and run with it and ask questions. I'm happy to help. But this way, I didn't have to worry about my ideal customer being there at this place. I know they're not there because, you know, they might be on a comment on YouTube for a content I made. I don't know. Does that make sense? Like that's how it works, in my opinion. But like for every consultant that's out there, like I honestly think implementing the growth formula for yourself first, and then figure out how you can help your customers like fix their business. Like one of the things I'm really passionate about, I don't actually have a small business coaching side. I do have an entrepreneur coaching for like people in my industry, like agencies and so on, which is the Clickx brand. And it's one of my biggest passions that as I try to help these people, I realize that they don't need a marketing help. They have a whole bunch of other problems they got to get fixed. And I don't want to get my hands, you know, feet all dirty with all that stuff, but I was going to build some really good like tools that I've used for other, you know, businesses that help me before they buy marketing. Like the growth formula is just one thing, but there's just organizationally, do they even have the right people in the right seat kind of things? Or, you know, do they even know where they're trying to go? Or maybe getting like organized as a business before they go invest in marketing to get to where they're trying to go, like kind of like that. I've been debating that a lot. And I feel like Deb, like that's what I would do for some of those people. It's just like, they're not even ready to market, unfortunately, believe it or not. Yeah.
I love it. Well, oh my gosh, Solomon, we've only got a couple minutes left. So for somebody who says, I need to know more, how do they find you?
Absolutely. So I did put together a free resource. It's on this website, 10x.info. They go to 10x.info. I literally gave a free masterclass on how they can 10x their business in 90 days, like basically how to 10x their pipeline, not the business. I don't know how big the business is, so I'm not saying you're going to 10x your business. You could 10x your pipeline. How's that? That's the potential leads that you can be working with on autopilot. So I like just giving away as much resources as possible. That's probably the best bet. My social handles are all there on that page. And it's also hopefully easy to remember.
Perfect. I love it. I love it. Well, this has been absolutely fascinating, and we could go on and on and on, and we just need to bring you on the program again. But until then, do you have any final thoughts that you want to leave everyone with?
Absolutely. I think entrepreneurs that are frustrated, you know, because they, you know, I talk to them every single day and I feel their pain and I'm very empathetic. Like they're frustrated because they're not getting the growth they want. They don't have the leads. They don't have the booked appointments. They don't have all of that. And they sort of believe that they're, you know, maybe they can't reach those goals. Like, man, this is probably not going to work. Like, I don't know if I'm going to hit. The answer is no. You got to have that system. I truly believe that they're capable of it. Their team is able to do it, but they just don't have a system that's currently working in their business. Like I would say invest into a system like the growth formula or the growth formula, if that's what you like to do, and then start implementing those things. Like I promise you, like it drives growth. And I don't want them giving up on their dreams. How's that?
I love it. I love it. Well, I am Deb Creer. I've been having such a fun discussion with Solomon Thimothy. And until next time, everyone have a great day.
Tune in for our next program for even more trends, best practices, and techniques for how to make your business a success. The Business Power Hour, hosted by Deb Creer, is proud to be part of the C-Suite Network.